Alrighty. Hmm. Just kind of settling in, that turning my own awareness kind of in, settling in down. I find a lot of times I'm planning and thinking and doing, and that's great. And it feels good sometimes to just almost that it's almost a physical feeling too of just almost like dropping back down inside of me. It's like, oh, I don't think I've even been feeling the lower part of my body for all morning. I've just been way up here in my head. So as we begin today, I've really been sitting with this, exploring judgments, positive judgments, those things that we normally take to be useful, good, without question. It's like, yeah, it's a great day out, or I feel great, and we don't stop and pause and wonder, what might be behind that, or under it, or around it. And so another one of those areas that we can to kind of take for granted sometimes is in this area of hope or positive expectations. When we expect things, or we are looking forward to things, or there's this hoping for, we're wanting things to work out in a particular way. And so we're just gonna, you know, put the smile on and go for it. And sometimes it's useful. And sometimes we're pushing so forward into what we hope that we're missing what we're experiencing in the moment. We're missing the experience of wanting, or we're experiencing the missing, or we're experiencing the longing. We don't want to feel that. We want to go for what we're hoping for, or what we expect might happen. And even in small ways of, like, showing up for a mindfulness class. I'm like, oh, it'll be good to get that relaxation and recentered. That's a little expectation. Nothing wrong with it. And yet at the same time, I have to almost slow myself down and go, okay, so what am I experiencing underneath the wanting to slow down and recenter a little bit? What am I actually experiencing that's making me want or expect or hope for something? And sometimes it's just like, well, I'm feeling a little flustered. That's what's actually here. And I'm hoping, or I'm wanting to change the flustered feeling. And again, no judgment. I prefer feeling good. I don't like feeling bad. That's normal. But again, sometimes it's that sense of slowing down enough to actually take in, what is this wanting feeling like? What is the desiring behind this expectation, or the desiring behind a hope? What is that? What is that feeling like? What is the missingness underneath that's driving the hope or the expectation? That starts to get a little bit more into that, I don't want to sit with that. That's why I'm hoping for something. That's why I want it to change. I don't want to feel missingness. I don't want to feel this lack. And yet at the same time, it's what's, feeling into the missingness or the lack is actually what allows it to release. It's like the hoping and the expectation is what we're trying to make change. And a lot of times that actually just keeps it stuck. Just like we were talking with judgments. When you judge something, you actually make it concrete. It puts it into firmness. When we have this hope or this expectation, it's the same type of thing. It makes it concrete. It locks it down. So as long as I'm hoping, I'm actually holding on to this missingness, and it can't actually release and relax and let go. I used to work with chronic pain patients, and we would do mindfulness or relaxation techniques. And, the message that they kept getting from their doctors was more of this, like, relax, damn it. And it's like, who can actually relax when you're just like, do it. And it's the same thing with hopes and expectations. You're like, do it, go for it this way, over here, make it happen. And you're like actually leaning over what this experience is right here that's driving the need. And so it's like using expectations, using positive expectations, using hopes as a way to even just kind of orient you to go, what am I leaning over? What is it that I'm actually trying to kind of like lean over and reach into and not actually touch right here? Because right here, what this is, that's what I'm actually experiencing in this moment. And feeling this, allowing this, is what's actually going to let it to actually release and open, not this leaning over it. I'm trying to get to where I'm going. But that's hard. Again, this mindfulness stuff is hard. And in some ways, it's one of the hardest things I've done because it's changing the way I think at a very basic level. It's not just gaining a new skill, it is literally changing perspective of that somehow staying here brings me the freedom that I want, not reaching out over there. It seems so backwards. And yet that's where the magic happens. It's just like being able to just stay right here. What's underneath the hope? What's underneath the longing? What does that feel like? And can I just stay with it a little bit and just breathe? So that's going to be our practice today. Just following the breath and allowing hopes and expectations to come up. Just like we were allowing judgment last time, allow hopes and expectations to come up. You notice I have this hope, so I'm just going to put it out there. Again, you're not getting rid of hopes. You're not getting rid of expectations. You're not having to change anything. But it's just noticing, here's another expectation I have. Here's another one I have. Here's another one I have. And as I continue to put these hopes and expectations out there, I get closer and closer and closer to what's really here underneath it all. And then I can go, oops, I don't like that. I'm going to come back out here. Like, that's fine. You notice that. And you breathe. You follow your breath. Anytime you notice it's, getting to be, it's like, oh, actually, I really need to hold on to that expectation or that hope. I'm not putting it out there. I have got to hold this one tight. You notice it and you just be okay with that. That's okay. Again, you're not getting rid of anything. You're just making a little bit of space so that you can see what might be under there. And just relaxing back into it. No forcing, just breathing. So with that, we'll go on into our practice. And so as we begin, bringing your awareness to your breath, noticing your inhale and the exhale, just as they are right now in this moment. Starting with the air at your nose, maybe feeling the movement of the air as you breathe, the little muscles around your nose and your cheeks, the soft palate. Maybe even noticing it way back in the back of your throat, whether there's tightness or looseness. Sometimes it can feel so tight that it's like you're trying to force air down your throat. And just noticing. There's nothing to change or fix. It's all just breathing. Noticing how your breath is right now in this moment. And from there, following the breath down into your chest. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. Noticing the very front of your chest, right there at your sternum, where the ribs meet, and perhaps feeling that little bit of pulling and opening with the inhale, and the relaxing back down with the exhale, right there at the front of your chest. Just this very slight open and close. Sometimes I even get this image of like little butterfly wings. They just kind of flutter open and closed, right there at the center of the chest. As the ribs expand up and out, and then relax back down and in. Noticing the movement of breath in your shoulders, in your upper back, or the middle of your back. Noticing where there might be some tightness or looseness. And perhaps allowing the tightness to be as tight as it needs to be, or looseness to be as loose as it wants to be. And maybe breathing all the way down into your belly, feeling the pressure in your low back or in your lower abdomen as your diaphragm pulls down, filling all of your lungs. Perhaps feeling the movement throughout the entire part of your lower belly, breathing all the way down into your hips and your pelvic bowl, as if your whole torso was filling with air and then relaxing. And just noticing what muscles move or don't move, where there's pressure or relaxation. You don't have to make anything move. You don't have to feel anything in particular. Just noticing what is there. Noticing where the mind wants to wander. Noticing it and bringing it back. And you can stay right here through the entire meditation if that's what you need, just staying with the breath. An inhale and an exhale, over and over and over again. Perhaps just picking one sensation to let your attention rest on, right there at the sternum, the ribs opening. You could sit here and breathe the entire time just like this. And if you want to explore expectations and hopes, you can invite them forward too. Just noticing what pops in your mind, putting them out there. You can use that imagery we've used before of putting them on a cloud, letting them go on their way. Or you can imagine just putting them out there in front of you, like you're laying cards on a table. And just want to look at them, see them. I notice I always have this sneaky little expectation with meditation. No matter how much I tell myself, oh, I'll accept whatever's happening, I still secretly want to feel good. I expect to feel good. So I see that and I just kind of put it out there. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. There's no judgment for having it. I just see it's there. This little expectation that's just standing there in the background. And for myself, if I even just look, what's underneath that little expectation, wanting to feel good. There's just that little awareness of I hurt a lot. There's just a lot of hurt that's just usually there, a lot of pain. So I just notice it. Again, it's not right or wrong, good or bad. I don't have to do anything with it. Just knowing that that's under there. Inhaling and exhaling. Right there at the chest, right there at the sternum. Noticing expectations or hopes as they come up and just putting them out there. And then breathing. Inhale and exhale. Really staying with the physical sensations of breathing. Staying anchored in your body. Even as you begin to look at these thoughts, these expectations. You can be very tender. A lot of gentleness. Just an inhale and an exhale. And as you notice your mind wandering, going off on different little trails, just notice it. Bring it back to your breath. Inhale and exhale. You may notice missingness or that sense of wanting that is underneath the hope or the expectation. And again, just being very tender, no judgment. Just allowing whatever it is to be here. You breathe in and you breathe out. I notice the longer I stay here, the tenderness begins to feel a little sweet, staying right there at my chest. And even then, I can see a judgment kind of sneaking in, looking around, like, oh, you're trying to make yourself have a particular experience. So I just notice that. Let it be there. Just notice all the way my mind wants to chatter at me. I'm breathing in and breathing out. Sometimes it truly is all that is needed. It's just this one breath, staying right in my body, right in my heart. It's staying close to myself, not reaching over, not extending out, but staying close to myself. And then letting all of your awareness come back to your breath. Very deliberately, just noticing an inhale and an exhale. And as you breathe, letting that awareness expand such that with your inhale, you expand to take in all of your body from your head all the way down to your toes. And then with the exhale, to release and letting go. And the inhale, expanding that awareness all the way out to the edges of yourself. And the exhale is a release and let go. Taking a few more breaths. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes.